coming on in. And again, we are still monitoring that one area of concern with that circulation, but there's a lot of strong wind here. All of this bright green as of 3:28 this afternoon, and it's getting even brighter right here, south and east of Terre Haute. Again, a couple thousand feet up, but wind speeds between 60 and 80 miles per hour, 86 right here. Some of that could definitely be reaching the ground, maybe not to that extent. What did you say it was, 60 at Terre Haute?
60 in Lafayette and 60 in Terre Haute.
Okay.
And to give perspective, a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, that's 80 miles an hour plus. And that's where you get your phones to go off as if it were a tornado warning. So we're not quite up to that level yet, but we're getting close.
We are, and we have had a lot of wet weather. I pointed this out yesterday. It's been pretty stormy and wet of late. Saturated soil could be a problem. We don't need to have wind speeds even this strong to cause some trees to come on down and power outages to occur. But right now we are looking at the chance around and just east and northeast, southeast of Terre Haute, very strong wind at least a few thousand feet up, 60, 70, maybe 80 miles per hour. That's not all guaranteed to be coming to the ground, but the brighter these greens are, the more likely we have some of this strong wind in some shape or fashion reaching the ground and causing some issues here. And Ryan's doing a pretty good job illustrating where some of those values are. Terre Haute right here and Shelburne right there. Look at those values. That's crazy. And we're going to track this out. And now this southern part of the line is not moving as fast, but it's still moving 40, 45 miles per hour. So if you live anywhere east, northeast, southeast of Terre Haute, here in southwestern and western Indiana, these locations could be affected, including Buchanan Corner by 333, Corey by 332, and also other locations down there near Terre Haute as well. So we're going to go to the areas east of the Terre Haute airport. There we go. Okay. And we are looking eastbound, I believe.
Looks like it's I-70 at mile marker 15.4. Looking east.
And this is where we have some blinding rain for sure. There's a lot of truck traffic there on 70. Notice the trees there. Oh, I'm going to pop that back up real quick. You can see, let's go back to that camera there. So if you look closely, you can see those trees there in the foreground really whipping around. So there's a lot of wind there. That's not a tornado. That's just strong wind associated with the storm. Traffic's still moving, but this is eastbound near Terre Haute. And we have a pretty big storm moving on through. So that is what we are going to be contending with as this whole thing slowly marches east, 40, 50, 60 miles per hour, this whole line. So let's zoom out, Ryan, if you could, real quick, and let's get our bearings. Indianapolis right here. We have that one circulation up to the north. Also the tornado warning down towards Terre Haute. And the whole thing is now warned. This whole thing is now warned for strong wind, and it's coming into central Indiana in the next hour or two. So just letting you know, it's 3:31, and we have a line of very strong storms, some of which have prompted tornado warnings, but we do know they are producing some damaging wind, and we've had some severe storm criteria reached in terms of some of these wind gusts today, around 60 miles per hour, and we've been sampling some higher wind gusts and some wind speed. So let's go back up to the areas northeast of Lafayette, and I'm still looking at this little Boeing structure here. It looks a little bit maybe, well, it's still a little bit squirrely, but this is some broad rotation right here, but this is associated with that little notch I was talking about on that northern part. So we have some wind gusting out, bowing out, and there's Camden, Burnettsville, Highway 24, Logansport, Deer Creek for reference. But this whole thing is bowing out and producing some damaging wind, and it's moving towards the Logansport area. Technically still having that tornado warning in effect until 3:45 for Carroll County. But I think we do have broad rotation, but I think the bigger threat, again, much like the Terre Haute storm, we have strong straight line wind. Let's put on our shear rate product here, Ryan, real quick. And this is not the most ferocious amount of rotation or straight line wind or shear rate wind velocity here that we are detecting, but there's still something here. and we are expecting at least potential for some outages, power, trees to come on down. Want to make sure you are safe. So again, that tornado warning continues until 3:45. Ryan?
All right, I just wanted to add, with these severe thunderstorm warnings, they're now adding the Tornado Possible tag. So not strong enough rotation to continue with a tornado warning for the moment, but Tornado Possible tag, they basically add these to severe thunderstorm warnings when there's weak rotation present, but not enough to go tornado warn. So that includes the severe thunderstorm warning in Putnam, Clay, Parke until 4:15. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning that's sort of going to continue off where we had that tornado warning in northern Vigo County and southern Parke County.
And I do want to have you zoom out and show the statewide perspective and maybe Illinois as well, because we've had really the tornadoes have been more numerous over here. The threat and the actual confirmed tornadoes have been more problematic across central and western Illinois today, because this is where the area of low pressure is, this little swirl in the atmosphere. But that area of low pressure is tapping into a lot of fuel here across Indiana. So we've gotten this entire line to fill on in. If you were watching yesterday, if you're watching Daybreak this morning, we've been showing you various model runs, solutions, batches of storms that were expected to cross the state today. Here we go. Everything's verifying. The timing could be a little bit different than what we were originally expecting, but now we're expecting this whole line to cross between now and 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. And the tornado watch for most of Indiana goes until 8 o'clock. So after that point, things will start to ease just a little bit. We hope they can ease a little bit sooner than that. But going back to Parke County, that tornado warning is set to expire at 3:45. So about another 10 more minutes here. And I haven't seen any indication that we're going to have an extension on that.
They just added they're going to drop the warnings.
So the warnings, both of them?
Just this one for the time being, and I believe the other one still went to 3:45 as well.
So at this point, for programming purposes here in the building, just letting you know, we're going to carry this until the tornado warnings are set to expire at 3:45, and then we're going to go back to a condensed version of our newscast at 3:45. And then we'll see how things roll after that. But we will carry over our weather coverage here for the next 10 minutes. Something could change. We may get another warning. And that is always a possibility as these storms roll on through. But these storms are bowing out in segments. And these little segments are the ones that can produce the enhanced tornado risk or the strong damaging wind gusts that could be a little bit higher than other parts of the line. So not everyone is going to have severe weather today. We're all going to likely at some point have a storm or some sort of a gusty storm move on through, because this line goes all the way down into parts of Kentucky right now. There's Bloomington, here's Indianapolis. But it's a pretty solid line that's going to be crossing the entire state. Brian?
I'm just going to go ahead with Future Scan while we have a quick second here. So this takes you through the next hour or two, and it kind of shows here in the metro area, we're going to be watching the 5 o'clock hour, but specifically as we're getting pretty close to 6 o'clock, the line's going to be right on our doorstep. And this is if it continues its exact forward speed it has in western Indiana. So there's a chance we'll have this line getting to us earlier. And the way this is trending, it's likely we're going to have severe thunderstorm warnings continue to be issued off to the east.
Yeah, and at this point, the line of storms is probably going to come into the metro at probably the worst time, rush hour. And we're going to have some traffic problems here and ponding on highways, blinding rain. If you don't have to be out during rush hour, probably good to stay home or maybe stay at your office a little bit longer, ride it out. But here we go. We've got this line of storms from areas north of Lafayette all the way down to areas south and west of Terre Haute. And there's Plainfield, here's the Indianapolis metro area, Greencastle, Cloverdale, right over Brazil right now, Rockville, really getting hit hard, Crawfordsville. And again, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're getting pockets of damaging wind in this, especially where our radar beam is going right into the storm. That's why these greens are really bright right here. And our wind speeds are very high down towards Greencastle, Terre Haute, because the radar beam is going in the right direction. The radar beam looking back to the northwest as the storms come on in from the southwest, it's not looking at the storm correctly to really get that classic wind measurement. So that's why our colors are a little bit off. But I can tell you that we've had, what was it in Lafayette, 60?
Lafayette gusted to 60.
So even the northern part of the line has been gusting up to about 60. And just for reference, severe thunderstorm warning criteria is 58 miles per hour, 1 inch hail, 1 inch diameter hail, or a tornado. That is a severe storm. But thankfully, we have had no confirmed tornadoes today in our area. Severe thunderstorm warning, is this a new one here?
That was the one I was talking
Okay,
about. It's
yeah.
tour possible tag.
Okay, so so this goes until 4:15, and let's just assume this: the thunderstorm warnings will likely be extended until the storms start to weaken, or the cold outflow from the storms happens to outrun the storms. And Ryan just popped on a ton of that lightning. Look at that.
It's not losing steam.
We have tons of fuel. Dew points in the 70s rather. Temperatures are in the 80s. It's very humid. We're going to have storms. The question is the intensity, the severity as they continue marching east across the state today. And this line goes all the way from northern Indiana. Let's just zoom out to the statewide perspective here, Ryan, real quick. So from the northern part of the state all the way down towards Evansville. And actually, oddly enough, the southern part of our state, Evansville, they've been hit hard recently with flash flooding, even a rogue tornado warning the other day. Oddly enough, down here, we're actually getting some less intense activity. The area of low pressure is back towards northern Illinois, so we would suspect the northern part and central Indiana most likely for now could have the strongest storms. Over time this evening, we could have more stuff erupt farther south. But that's the big picture, Ryan.
Something to add here, I know, Keith, you were just mentioning some of the flooding in parts of Evansville, but right here at home, through this past weekend, we had 5, 6, 7-inch rainfall estimates. That was parts in Hamilton County, Howard County, and Tipton County. And the line is going to be moving through your area. So we obviously have saturated soil in some of those communities already. So just a heads up, you got about an hour until the line is going to be on you. Let's take our camera in Logansport, because that is where we have the tornado warning. That's not too far away off to the south and west in Carroll County, although Logansport is not in a tornado warning for the time being.
Yeah, lots of happening today, so we'll continue to monitor that big storm in that area. But for reference, Logansport here, the strongest part of that storm north and west, that's where the lightning is. And one thing that we always notice with these storms, where there's a big concentration of lightning, that's likely where some of the strongest storm activity is, obviously. But when there's an uptick in lightning or a decrease in lightning, that's another thing to note. Down here, south and west of Logansport, we've lost some of this cloud-to-ground lightning. So maybe we've lucked out and had this weaken just a little bit. When things pulse up as far as lightning counts, we can assume the storm is strengthening, and when we lose the lightning, we tend to see those storms on the downward trend here. But we still have a lot of ferocious amounts of lightning from Terre Haute to Greencastle here, right along I-70, I-74 too, and on the leading edge, that's where we're getting the potential for a spin-up tornado maybe, but really strong, damaging straight-line wind. A wall of wind, ominous-looking clouds. There's probably an ugly-looking shelf cloud on the leading edge of a lot of this. And you'll know this thing when it comes on in. It looks ominous. It looks like a mothership from the movie Independence Day coming on in. And this will come on in, do its thing, gusty wind, heavy rain, perhaps a little bit of hail, thunder, and lightning. Let's hope we don't have severe warning criteria in your backyard. But it's not going to last all afternoon. This will be in. It will be marching on through. But these are gully washers, folks. It's juiced up the atmosphere, and we will have a lot of heavy rain and even that flooding threat with some of these storms. Even if it's just a local drain, or maybe you are susceptible to some localized flooding at your personal area, you could have that with these heavy downpours coming on in. So this is Brazil right now. Check it out. This is a live view. Notice how we do have some ponding there at the intersection. And also look at the right side of your screen. We've got that traffic light there bobbing around in the breeze there. And that is what we are going to be contending with across most of Indiana today at some point. Again, not everyone's going to have severe weather, but we will have some ferocious storms. And Brazil, right here, we just showed you that camera. And above the surface, we could have some wind speeds that could be over 70. From that vantage point we just showed you there, we did not have 70 miles per hour as far as the wind gusts at that time, but there's some pretty good wind energy here, Ryan, out towards that area.
All right, I just want to make a mention here. Tornado warning has now expired.
Okay.
They've canceled it in Carroll County, so we are without any tornado warnings in the area.
Okay, so our tornado warnings have been allowed to expire, and I want to broaden out, show you the big picture. We're going to go get ready to start our newscast. If folks want to be letting me know what we're going to do, I will direct things accordingly. But we're going to take a step back from our wall-to-wall coverage here of tornado warnings here across central and western Indiana. We'll be monitoring this activity as it comes on into the Indy Metro as we go throughout the next 1 to 2 hours. We'll go to break right now, and we'll come back with a shortened version of our 3 o'clock show, Focus on the Family. Stay with us.
Was an accident on I-465.
Do you want real results? Don't risk your future.
I called 1-800-2-KELLER.
Keller & Keller.
I got more. Way more than I thought I'd get.
All the money I deserved.
Tell them you mean business.
Today we're talking trends in bathroom remodeling, specifically around bath safety. One of the most popular trends right now is replacing old, outdated tubs with modern and accessible showers. This type of remodel can drastically improve safety in the bathroom, and West Shore Home is making it easy and affordable right now.
We help hundreds of homeowners every single day replace that bath with a more safe and accessible shower. And right now, we're making it as affordable as possible. Right now, with our 4th of July sale, you can get a modern and accessible shower with free installation and 36 months of 0% APR. So you can get the benefits of a safe and accessible shower now, get free installation, and you'll have 3 full years to pay it off without paying any interest.
When it comes to safety in the bath area, there are a lot of things to think about. Bathroom floors and surfaces can be slippery. And we've all seen the statistics on injuries, which can be scary.
Yeah, that's right. Let me show you how we completely remove those worries. We'll take out that high step bathtub and replace it with a low step shower. We place anchor grab bars on the shower wall